Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Parallel League podcast. This week, Mookah and I are joined by an absolutely incredible cosplayer, Melissa. So we're super excited to have you on. Before we get into the interview portion, I want to give some few announcements here just about the league. Next weekend is the first minor of the season, so that's pretty exciting. And the broadcast of the Final Four will be on Sunday, so don't miss that. And the winner of the minor, what does actually get to be in the top 16 of the first major. So that's really exciting. We also want to congratulate Tony for being the first winner of the first Open of the season. So big congrats to Tony. And also the next Open will be at the end of this month in April. So all of the information about the league and the schedule of events can be found at parallelleague.game. And without further ado, let's get on to Melissa here. So Melissa, you did an amazing job cosplaying Catherine at the Prime Championship in Vegas. I just want to start out with that discussion, sort of walking us through the process, like what made you just choose Catherine to cosplay? Like, just take it away. Like, how was the experience for you?
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on. I feel honored to be here with you guys. You guys are absolute legends. The World Championship, anyone who was there, we can all vouch. That was such a phenomenal experience. Like the community feeling was just amazing. The energy was so awesome, and you could just feel the love and the passion and all of that. So it was such an awesome experience to get to go. I was so excited when I realized I was going to be able to go. I was like over the moon. It was like awesome. I was like, but which cosplay? I had already done Martis, and I was like, I feel like World Championship. We need to go bigger. We need to do more. We need someone more exciting. She's great. She's awesome, but we just need a little bit more. So I reached out to the Parallel team, and I was kind of trying to lead them towards Neve because I'm extremely biased. So
Love to see Neve
shroud
personally,
forever.
yeah.
But I was like, so we could do Neve or Cathy or Neve or maybe Neve, perhaps Neve. And they were like, Cathy sounds awesome. And I was like, yes, she is awesome. Not as quite as awesome as Neve, but I'll take it. Cathy is such an incredibly brave, courageous, strong female lead in a game. Neve is too, but I really admire that how Parallel designs their women characters. I think that's so cool that she's so powerful. She's not showing her stomach or anything. Not that that ever detracts, but it was just, cool to be this awesome, strong, courageous woman who's just really a leader, leader of the Markolians, and she's fearless. So that was a really kind of awesome choice that they made. Hopefully Neve will happen someday. She's on my list.
I didn't
I'm
actually
still
know.
hoping.
I didn't know that there was like sort of this like back and forth with the team of like them giving you the preference. I thought you would have just like picked one and ran with it. But it kind of makes sense because I feel like, you guys can validate this or not, but I feel like Catherine's sort of like the main character. Like when you
Yeah.
play the game, the opening cinematic of when you're going through the tutorial and everything, it starts with Cathy like walking through the spaceship and everything. So it makes sense. But I do admire your love for Neve because she's
Yeah,
also my favorite as well.
100%. She's the character that we know the most too, so I guess I understand why they picked it. I'm sure you will get your Neve spotlight sooner rather than later. I think so for sure. I wanna know, like, what was the process to make the cosplay? Like, how did you get all the pieces and everything? Because it looks so
Yeah.
spot on.
Thank you. So I went to a costume designer in Los Angeles because Cathy's whole suit is way beyond my scope and skill set right now. And I definitely am learning how to make armor, but it's not at the place yet where I would feel comfortable presenting that on an international like stage, like the World Championship. So I felt like, you can't mess this up. Kathy is so awesome. And like you're saying, she really does feel in many ways kind of like a main character for it, since that's who you see right away, you're first introduced to. So I didn't want to mess her up. It was like I Gotta knock it out of the park with this one. It's Catherine. I went to this awesome costumer here in LA, Alexandria Walton. She's actually won like an Emmy for costuming. She's phenomenal.
Wow.
She's an amazing cosplayer, such a cool person. So her and another girl teamed up because it was pretty short notice when I found out I was going to get to go to Worlds. They teamed up. I sent them over my measurements and I sent them over every picture and video of Cathy I could find, all of that. It was a really cool process too for like the chin piece. I came over and we actually molded it to my face before, and then they sculpted it. Same with everything else. It was all handmade. Every single aspect was completely done from scratch. It was made from different kinds of foam. So it was either carving it or sculpting it, layering different foams. The bodysuit has Velcro all over it that you can't see. And then the armor has Velcro on the back that you can't see. And it's like super intense Velcro. And you Velcro all the pieces on. It's a pretty dramatic costume. It takes quite a while to get into. It's a lot of moving pieces. A lot of people laughed at me at the World Championship. I couldn't sit down like to watch. I had to stand because it's
No.
not. You can't
Oh my
sit in
gosh,
that
you had to
costume.
stand like the whole time? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's
No,
rough.
can't sit. And it's like the big heeled boots and everything. So it's
Yeah.
like standing in these giant shoes all day. But I still got to really enjoy everything just from a standing position instead of getting to sit in the audience. But it
That's
was
so
it was
cool.
so awesome seeing it come together. I was so beyond thrilled with the work that they did. Then I got what's called Rigid Colloidal, which is a makeup product that you use to create scars. So normally for all the other scars I've made, I use scar wax for cosplay, and that builds scars, out. So if like there's a big, gash, you can do all that. But Catherine's scars are they go into her face. They don't stick out really. It's like it goes in and in. So this rigid colloidal actually, I'm sure it's great for your skin. It sucks your skin in and creates what looks like a scar. And you just keep layering it on until you get the depth that you're looking for. And then you have a special remover because if you just peel it off, you'll be peeling off a lot of your face with it, which is fun.
Bro, this is intense.
This is
Yeah.
insane, like, I'm
Yeah.
having a moment here where the level of detail that has gone into this, and I find that when I've had conversations with cosplayers in the past, like, it's always this, like, there's so much effort that is put into these, cosplays, but I mean, I can't get over this. Like and it's making me even think of like the scars of Cathy, like the amount of detail I need to go back and look like is kind of insane. Like mad respect for the amount of effort. Like my goodness.
Thank you. And the designers did such an awesome job with her. I also think it's really cool that they made she's obviously gorgeous, but giving her these cool scars along with being a fearless leader. I thought that was awesome too, that she's got, some flaws, even though it doesn't look like a flaw in her. She looks amazing. But that was really cool. The contacts, oddly enough, were really hard for me. I don't wear contacts, and I've only worn colored contacts for cosplay only a couple of times. So the first day, it took me an hour to get in just the contacts, nothing
No.
else, no other part. And I
Oh.
was like, I'm gonna be late because I had like timed out everything. I was like, I'll give myself 25 minutes to put on contacts, like an hour and a half for the makeup, an hour and a half for the wig, and the contacts took an hour just by themselves with nothing else. So the second day, I brought a friend with me to help me get dressed because I can't put it on by myself. It's honestly could be a three-person process. um, so they actually put in my contacts for me the second day because I was like, I can't. It took an hour yesterday. I can't do that. We got to do that now. And my friend's like, I don't want to touch your eye. Ew, I don't want to touch your eye. I'm like, you have to touch my eye. Uh, this whole
The
thing goes on
struggle.
in Luxor, yeah.
Wow.
Wait, I need to understand this. Okay, so you said an hour for contacts,
Mhm.
3 hours for makeup. Wait, how many hours? How many
It
hours
was
does
at
all of this
least an
take?
hour and a half for makeup at least,
Okay.
and then putting on the wig was at least an hour, because
Okay.
normally I'm pretty lazy with wigs and I don't glue them or anything. I just toss them on and we go. Like Martis, I just pinned it and we were good to go. But Cathy is a ponytail wig, and you have to then get what's called a 360 lace, and that was really fun trying to find that. And then I have to glue it all the way around. And to do the glue, you have to do one layer at a time, let it dry, and then do at least 5 layers of the glue all the way around where your edge of your hairline is, and then go and place it. So that was a whole long process, and I've never done wig glue before. So I'm convinced I did it wrong because at the end, it took me probably each night like an hour to an hour and a half trying to get the glue off. And I actually, this part of my face, I removed a bunch of my skin with the glue. Like it was hilarious. It looked like a huge like burn or something. I was like, oh, I did that wrong because my skin's gone. So
Oh
I
no.
had like adhesive remover and everything. The chin piece was glued on as well, so I had a special adhesive remover for that. I use a glue called Pros Aid, which is like prosthetic aid. What that means, to be able to glue it on, and so that you put it on the prosthetic and then on your skin, and then let it dry, and then just press and hold and hope. Um, we had no idea if the chin piece was going to stay. And the customer, she was like, I mean, worst case, you can paint it. And I was like, I cannot, it can't be painted. It has to be the real piece. Like, I got to make this work. So during the first day, I had to go back to my room and re-glue the chin piece. But the second day, I got it glued well enough that it stayed on the whole time without having to adjust. And then putting on the costume takes a really long time, because each armor piece, getting everything in place. The bodysuit's super simple. That's just like putting on clothes. But all the armor pieces, especially the neck piece, is extremely fragile, extremely fragile. And so it like velcros shut like this. To get it on though, you can't pull it this way, which would be the easy way, like open and stick my neck in and close it. You have to twist it like this so gently until there's just enough space to stick your neck through and get it through, and then back. So that part I felt really anxious and stressed about, because it's like if I snapped
It could break. Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
like, I also chose to drive to the championship to protect the costume. I was thinking, well, flying so much faster, easier. But I could just see them, how they love to treat luggage, and airlines just chucking it and it just. So I decided to drive, had it in a big box. And to be honest, I'm sure the Luxor people were so confused. They're like, you're here for 3 days? And it was just so much stuff. Like I had just so much, like wig head, wigs, shoes, like all the stuff, armor in big boxes. Like my little luggage trolley was stuffed. I'm sure that guy was just like,
What
"Girl,
is
this
this
is
girl
you're
doing?
here
Yeah.
for like 3 days. Why do you have like a full armor suit?" But
Wow.
yeah, so putting it on takes a little bit, probably like 20 minutes getting that all set up and everything. And then it was good to go. So it was like a whole process each day, but totally worth it. It was definitely worth it. I'm very awesome.
Okay, so I'm clocking in like maybe a
I'm doing
three,
math too.
yeah, like 3.5 hours of getting it on and getting completely ready. With Does that sound about right? Of like getting prepared for the day?
Yeah, I would wake up either at 6 or 6:30, and then I
Okay.
usually got there around 10 or 10:30.
And
So it was like 4 hours
So
to get
I'm
ready.
also clocking like 2 hours of like taking it off. Like how long does the thing
Yes.
take and everything? So we're at like 6 hours.
Yes.
and how long did
Oh
you
my
stay
god.
at the championship? Did you stay the entire day? Like didn't
Yes.
sit down? Oh my goodness.
And I'm
That is
sure, not to like TMI, but if you can't sit down, I also cannot go to the restroom by myself.
right.
I would have to go back to the room for that to have help getting out of
Did that happen?
everything. I basically just, really long day.
Oh my
Tried
god.
to try to avoid that. I was drinking as little water as possible.
Wow.
Bro,
Everyone
why
was
didn't
so
she get a
kind. They were like,
trophy?
"Do you
I
want
know,
food? Do you
right?
want water?" And I'm like, "No, thank you." They're like, "You're not hungry?" And I'm just like,
Bro, I
I
cannot
really
believe
can't."
this.
Well, okay, I just wanna say that I am super happy that we're having you on the podcast and giving you the stage to explain all of this because I mean, you could probably tell by the shock on her face, like, I just did not know that there's that much that goes into it. Like, I know there's a lot, but I didn't realize it was that much, and also, like, not being able to sit down the entire day, trying not to drink water so you didn't have to pee, like, my god. Uh, but I will say that, just to make it all worth it, that you definitely added a lot to the experience of the championship. Like, it was really exciting for people to take pictures with you and have you on stage and, like, just having someone embody one of the characters of the story, was really, really cool. So, I think all of that effort absolutely paid off and was super worth it, but it's been fascinating to hear how much truly went into it. Like, I'm still kinda shook, being honest.
It was
Wow.
absolutely worth it, and it was so cool bringing her to life and, like, seeing people be excited about it, that just, like, warmed my heart, and, when they're like, "Do you guys wanna, come up on stage? We'll ask you questions." I'm like, "Yes, I'm
Yeah.
an actor, so, us actors were like, "Spotlight the stage. Ah, you have to
Cool.
make me." Like, yeah, so it was so awesome. And everyone was so, just incredible. The whole parallel team was so awesome. I got to meet the guy that sculpted her and sculpted
Mm,
her
Oh,
statue.
that's sick.
that's super
So
cool.
incredible. Also, if you're a whale out there that loves parallel, you should be buying these statues. They're phenomenal. I was like, I need this Cathy one. The detail is incredible and such tiny. I mean, like their little hands are so small and like every detail is perfect. Like the artists at Parallel are unparalleled.
Very
Of course.
good. I got my Iraq one and it was freaking crazy opening that thing. They're so good. They're like insanely detailed.
It's unbelievable. It's just exceptional work, the artists, and then all the other artists that they had who did like the posters and everything, just blown away. And then all the stuff they gave away to people was incredible. That was so kind. We all go to tons of events, and usually it's like here's like a sticker, maybe like a sock or like a keychain or something. But like Parallel just really spoiled all of us. It was you could tell that they were grateful that people wanted to come and they wanted to, you know, show some thanks, and they really I felt the love. I was like, this is so much.
Yeah.
This is amazing. They really and it was like premium amazing things that they gave out.
The merch was good this year, like, some of the T-shirts and stuff
It
like
was
that, it
really
was
good. I
really
mean,
solid stuff.
I was gonna say it looks really
Yeah.
good, right?
They gave
these
away
are
some
Looks
great stuff.
clean.
Was
yeah.
that the most, like, of cosplays that you've done in the past, does that rank, like, the biggest event or, like, most effort that you've put into one? Or has there been another that sort of rivals that amount of detail and effort? I'm curious.
I think that would be definitely the longest time getting ready, the most preparation, the most planning, all of it. Yeah, absolutely the most difficult, and also definitely like the most worthwhile as well. But that was definitely the hardest one I've ever done so far. Very cool though.
I
Crazy.
have one more question about the cosplay. Like, what were people on the Luxor like floor saying when you're a captain? Like, we saw it and we're like, "This is sick!" Like, "Oh my god, I cannot believe it!" But like, what were other random people saying to you?
Oh my gosh, I loved that. That was so fun. Like coming out of the elevator and people were like, when I did the Martis cosplay for Gamescom, it was a big gaming convention, so not everyone was in cosplay, but there were lots of cosplayers, so nobody was like, taken
Yeah.
aback. No double takes. So like, oh, another cosplayer. But in the Luxor, I'm like walking through the casino with like my big cape and all the armor, and people were like, Oh my god, I could you could audibly hear people. One lady was like,
Really?
"She looks scary." Other guy like called out to me and he was like, "You look awesome!" Woo! And I was like, check out Parallel. It's so cool. So it was definitely a lot of double takes, a lot of confused looks. A lot of people really impressed. They thought it was really cool. They didn't know what it was, but they loved it. But lots of surprise. No one was expecting that in their casino.
Have thought that, yeah, like in Vegas, I mean, you would think a lot of people, even if they're surprised, it's Vegas, like it's such a, a showy, city and stuff like that. But I don't know, that's pretty amazing to hear people's reaction, like was actually audible. You could hear them
Yeah.
gasp, stuff like that. That's awesome. So you mentioned that you were emeritus at Gamescom, and so I'm just kind of curious, and this sort of leads into questions of like, how did you find Parallel, and what led you here? But yeah, I'm curious about Gamescom because I've heard that's absolutely incredible, and that's really when when the Parallel community first got to see you, like on stage, and get to know you better. So tell us about that.
Gamescom was amazing. A huge, massive convention. Like I work conventions all the time, and I've never seen anything like the size of Gamescom. That was just the most large, massive footprint you can imagine. I mean, usually conventions are a couple of halls, not too many. This was like, I mean, I think the parallel, we were in like hall like 9 or 11. I mean, there were so many halls, every single one full. Every company just pulled out all the stops. I mean, just huge sets, just like really immersive. I mean, it's just an unbelievable experience just walking around and like again, really cool community feeling, knowing that we're with gamers, other people who get it, who like it, enjoy it. Not too many people knew about Parallel at Gamescom, but we changed that.
Yeah.
We changed that.
New wings, fair.
Exactly. But it was such a cool experience. Getting to go to Germany for the first time was amazing as well. I was just truly blown away at Gamescom at the size and the investment. I think some of the games probably spent millions on their booth. I mean, and that might be a low estimate. I mean, some of them just. I mean, they basically like built their game for people to walk through. It was really amazing. The lines are really long though, so if you're gonna attend Gamescom, just be prepared for that. Like each booth has like a long line, especially if they have good giveaways. And the giveaways were wild across the way from us. The booth, I can't remember who they were, but they were just they're like, we're giving away a whole computer today, a whole laptop, a monitor, like
Oprah,
nice
"You get a
stuff.
computer, you." Yeah.
Exactly. I was just like, "Oh my gosh," like, like and of course there were the keychains and the socks and everything. There was also this super cute goose. Everyone had this cute goose stuffed animal, and I could never find it. I was like, "Where's this Gamescom goose? I need a Gamescom goose." It was so cute. But so many people had this big goose, but I never ended up finding it. But it was such a huge footprint. I didn't even get to see probably 20% of Gamescom
Wow.
because I
Wow.
was working during opening hours. I tried
Mhm.
to be at the booth the whole time. So we only had like a short bit on the way in and the way out. And it was such a massive footprint. I wasn't able to see everything. But what I did see was so incredible. If you ever have a chance to go, I would absolutely recommend it. It was amazing. It was super cool. And people received the cosplay really well there. That was really fun. And a whole different cultural experience going to Germany, very different from the US. So that was cool.
Oh.
That's awesome. So how did that even how did we get there? How did we get to Gamescom? Like how did you find Parallel? How did we, what's the journey like? Cuz it's like you went from finding Parallel to going to Gamescom as Meritus, and then you went to Worlds as Catherine. Like this is quite a, from just finding the game and jumping in. Like that's a pretty impressive or like exciting journey.
It was really exciting. I feel extremely fortunate and very lucky that it was able to work out and that Parallel and the team had wanted me to be a part of things. I feel really, really fortunate for that. So my first introduction to Parallel was a couple of years ago. My good friend introduced me just with the art originally, and I was just instantly enthralled. It just captivated me, especially Shroud. That art just really speaks to me. I'm a little bit spooky. I love the spooky stuff. The Shroud just captivated me right away. And I was like, oh my gosh, this art is incredible. My friend then gifted me like two of the NFT cards. And I was like, man, this is like really, really cool. But for a while, I didn't know so much about the game. I'd say it was probably a year or a year and a half after seeing it for the first time. That's when I think it was coming out where we could start playing then. And my friend's like, you got to give it a shot, like you used to play Magic growing up. Like, I feel like you'll love this. And I was like, well, give this a shot. And oh my gosh, right away, that first cinematic, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I was like, "Is this a movie?" Like, just I'm like, "Oh, and you guys are in beta? Like, come on, like, this is incredible." Like, just floored. I was just instantly floored and just ready to dive into the story. I wanted to know all about all the factions, want everything. I just loved it. Then I played the rookie matches, and I just don't get Earthen. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad, but like it's beautiful art. Like the art is gorgeous, but the gameplay, it to me, I think I lost every single one. Like, and my friend's like, "Oh, I thought you would love Earthen, like you love the earth." And I was like, no, it's just not
The
for
w
me.
the way that you said that, you're like, "I just don't get Earthen. I'm so sorry." Like, that's a clippable moment right there. I love that. Okay, so you all the other, rookie matches, you were good, but Earthen just was the struggle, on the struggle bus? Good.
Major struggle bus. That was just it doesn't, but I'm always in any gaming, I'm always about being the damage person. I do like if I'm playing League, I will be a healer sometimes, try to be fair to your friends. Can't always be the damage dealer, but Parallel, we're not playing that way, It's like I don't have to share the damage. I can just be damage and like the earthen style with all the healing and everything, it didn't really speak to me, and I was terrible. So
I'm
That's
surprised
um
you didn't like
hilarious.
Marco then. If you were like the damage,
Yeah.
you're always going for damage.
yeah, I did like Marco quite a bit. Catherine, I didn't play really much Lemieux. uh didn't play too much of him, but Kathy was awesome. But first I started out with New Dawn. um got my little NFT deck, and I was like, yes, I've done it. And then the expansions came out, changed the whole meta, everything, and that deck is now obsolete. And I was like, "Ah, yeah,
Card
love
game.
that." Card
Yeah.
games. And then it was switching over to Neve, which that was just like, Neve, yes. As we all know, that's my girl, that's my favorite. So I still enjoy Brand, New Dawn, Kathy, all that, but that Neve play just got me right in. Now I do, she's obviously very challenging. That's not like not trying to act like she's easy or that I'm good at it. Not trying to make any wild things here, but just fell in love with that. And so now my next goal is to work on a Kathy deck and start playing Kathy and Neve. Can't let her go, can't let Shroud go, but I do want to learn Kathy. Eventually, I'll learn some Cathari, I think, and some Core too. But think initially my little laser beam focus is on perfecting Neve and then learning how to play Kathy.
That's a good
Love it.
approach. That is a very good approach. All right, so you found the game. I mean, I'm gonna say by off chance, like friend recommendation, and
Mhm.
then you started playing, you liked it, and then what? Like you were just like, I like this so much, I got to talk about it on like Twitter or X, and then I got to cosplay it. Like, was that the next segue?
Basically, yeah. I think the first interaction with the team was me shooting my shot, and I was like, I want to be a parallel voice actor someday. Just tweeted that
Yeah,
out into the world.
just throwing it out there.
It's just like, I'm gonna shoot this shot. And they had responded being like, yeah, yeah, that would be cool. Maybe we can get you an audition someday. And then that kind of just started the conversation with them, and it was like, oh, I love doing cosplay. I would love to bring one of your characters to life. And then the conversation started rolling. They're like, we have Gamescom coming up. It's like, I've got my passport. I'm ready to go. Uh, and then it just went from there. And then after Gamescom, they were really happy with how that went, onboarding a lot of new people. Having a cosplayer at the booth can help people who, don't know about the game. They might just be interested seeing like, oh, there's a cool costume. Let me talk to that person. And then, I reel them in, be like, now let's go play the game. If you don't, For people who don't know, at Gamescom, they had a whole booth set up with tons of different computers, and the setup looked great. So people could actually come learn Parallel and play, and they had people from the Parallel team there teaching them. That was fascinating because sometimes I was trying to help with that. And that is not an easy game to teach others. You're like, no, I know
No.
this game, but then trying to teach others, I was like, oh, it can be difficult. So like I really hats off to people who are incredible coaches like Mookah, um, who make it seem so effortless to teach the game to others. Like when you were coaching me, which again, thank you.
Oh, no problem. That was like way back when, I
You
remember.
made it seem like so effortless, like and then trying to explain it to other people, I was like, wow, it's a little bit tricky explaining all the different parts of the game to people. So I was really impressed by how you guys can make it seem so easy and effortless to teach others. You guys really have an impressive knowledge set.
The trick is the timer because there's so much, that like goes into, but like you don't want to rope out on the decision because
Yeah.
you want to, keep explaining the flow of the game, and but getting everything into like 90 seconds during your turn is a really tough one. And then you just have to be like, okay, let me make the play, and then we can discuss it. And so yeah, I
Yeah.
validate that. I think being a coach is definitely hard. But I didn't actually know that Muka, you coached Melissa like back
Yeah,
in
there was,
back in the day. Cool.
man, this was when you were playing New Dawn, and, this was like yeah, it was before Planetfall, and, back then, I was coaching anybody and everybody. Like, I just wanted people to play Parallel and get better at Parallel. So, yeah, like, I think Koji or Mr. Gon, was the one that, like, connected us. He's like, "I got someone, you gotta teach them how to play." And I was like, "Yeah, just, like, hook it up, set it up." And then, yeah, we actually did pretty well. We got the New Dawn going, and then I literally remember your message too when you came back and you're like, "Oh, my new Dawn isn't working anymore." And I'm like, "Oh, we got like a new set of cards. Like it's not gonna work."
What
It's
happened?
like
Oh, that actually
uh,
probably was rough because yeah, New Dawn, like, starts not working very fast sometimes, like, you're just
yeah.
getting absolutely rolled, so I could have seen that message being like, "Help me, what's happened?"
Yeah, I went
Um,
from feeling great to I was like, wow, I am just getting destroyed. But that is part of the game. We want the game to evolve, the metas to change, keep it fresh for people. It's just that learning process and keeping up with it. I was really grateful that Mr. Gon recommended Muka, and I thought that was just such a cool. I was so impressed again by the parallel team. Just like the fact that they even responded to some random person on Twitter at all is amazing. And then trying to make sure like we want to help you have a good onboarding to this game experience. I've
yeah,
never had any other game team ever, even care about. They would never be like, oh, we want to make sure, you have a good
yeah.
experience, so that meant a lot to me, like, because absolute legend Luca for them to set me up with. Like, how lucky to be coached. And hopefully now you've got like a coaching business thing going on, Muka, because you're so good at it. You deserve to be compensated.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun coaching and stuff. And like, yeah, it's just like I've done it from like new players all the way to the top end, and it's always been a rewarding and experience. I actually think the top end is way harder to coach because they don't want to
Mm.
listen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They push
they
back
don't.
probably a lot
Yeah, they
more
push
on
back
you.
hard. They push back hard.
There's there's probably some value in the pushback, though. You can, like,
It
find
is.
some common
Yeah.
ground,
It's
but
a
I could see
different kind of
them.
experience, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, "I swear this is it. Like, this is correct." And then there's moments in season 1, where, like, that happened where it's like, I'm pretty sure this is it. And then, like, I ended another group of people did it, and I was like, "Oh my god." And then but it's also worked the other way where we like, you think you got it right and you convince your team, and then that's not the right way either. So it's a prediction game, so sometimes you're right, sometimes you're not.
Yeah, taking ownership from when you were maybe wrong, that's probably gotta
Yeah.
be that's tough, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but Melissa, I totally agree and hear you, and I think that's one of the most amazing things about the parallel community is that, like, pretty much from the beginning, everyone is just, like, so welcoming, we all see, the potential in the game and how cool the story and the lore is, and so when new people come in, everyone is just like, "What do you need? We'll send you cards." What, like and it seems like that was your shared experience as well. And I will say, just one thing that I noticed of you is that you're super involved. Like, you're like constantly hanging out in Twitch streams and stuff like that. Like, I feel like I just saw your name all the time, like in supporting the community as well. And I just always thought that that was really cool. So it's a very like wholesome, way that you found it and got involved. And I just, you've been a really cool character and person in the community. So it's been really sweet to see. Um, yeah. So what's on the horizon then? Who's the next parallel character that you would like to cosplay, other than Neve? Okay,
Oh,
because
yeah, I was
obviously
gonna
Neve
say we
is
have
but
to add
other than
other
Neve,
than
I think
Neve.
okay,
I think
so
we
that's
know,
number
Dave.
1. And then also like non-parallel, character, what would you like to, cosplay?
Ooh, that's a good one too. So for not Neve, let's see. I do feel like at some point Shoshana is gonna happen. I
Yeah.
feel like
It's inevitable.
it's just, that it feels like that, seems
You
like
sound too
natural.
enthusiastic.
Yeah.
I feel
The
so
rookie
bad
mode
about Earthen.
PTSD.
I know, so
Melissa just doesn't
sad.
like Earthen, it's fine,
Yeah.
it's fine. You're like Oscar,
Oh.
art director, he just wanted to cancel, Earthen, right off the bat, so
Yeah.
He gets me. No, so I think Shoshana would be cool. Oh my gosh, what is her name? This one will be really hard work, and I'm still not even sure how I can pull it off. But the one, oh my god, why can't I remember her
What
name?
is
The
what
Cathari chick with the cool
Ichi
arm, and she's like,
Domina?
Oh,
yes,
Domina.
Domina, yeah.
Domina
yes.
would be sick.
That'd be
Do
Have
that.
sick.
to, have to. I have to figure it out. I keep looking at the picture and I'm like, that looks so hard. But I mean, it's gonna be if I can make that happen, that would be so cool. Originally, I wanted to do Malia, but at Worlds,
Mm.
someone was like, "Oh, that's cool. How are you gonna do her feet?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I've never looked at the bottom of that card." And they were like,
Neither have
"Look at
Oh,
her.
I.
Oh,
Hold on,
look
we
at
need
her
to have this,
feet.
like, pulled up, on the video
it's like
file.
voidy.
Yeah, it's,
It's
like,
like this
non-existent.
like squid thing." And I was like, "Oh,
Never mind. Can't do that
maybe
one.
I gotta think about that. I'm not sure how to make Malia happen now.
Looking
Those
at
feet
Domina
are
now too.
wild." Yes, right? I
The
mean, it
arms
needs
are hard. The arms, like
yes.
the arms
It's
and the
really
hands.
that you could recreate such a cool photo because you could do it
Yeah.
exactly the way, and it would just, like, be a
Yeah.
replica, you know? Oh, that'd be sick. I
Oh,
support
Be
the
s
man.
decision.
be so cool.
I
That
almost
one
gotta
is
hook you
really
up with
high
a
on my
like a
list.
prosthetics budget
Yes.
Yeah, there
for
you
that.
go.
For that
That's
arm and, what
yeah.
she's holding, like but, I mean, she's so sick, like, that art is so cool, I think that would be really, really cool, so awesome. There's another earthen one people have requested, but I've looked, and the more I look at it, to me, it looks like she has either locks or dreads, and I'm like, "Well,
Mhm.
then that's not really appropriate for me to be cosplaying." So,
Nehemiah.
Celia
Maybe Soleil, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
Soleil,
Celia.
yeah.
So even though people have recommended that one and she's so cool, to me it looks like locks or dreads, and I don't want to be doing that. So, but she's so awesome. So hopefully another cosplayer will want to be her because she's really beautiful and really cool looking.
Well,
I mean, there's so many in
yeah,
parallel.
there's no
Like, it's
Great
just
shortage
character
of
pick.
like
endless.
of epic parallel characters, which will hopefully keep getting like more and more with time, of course, like through comics and more lore drops and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you've got plenty of options ahead of you. I don't think you'll run out of good ones. So next world championship, hopefully, I'm assuming you're super
Yes.
jazzed to go. Would you like to see it in Vegas again, or do you think they should go elsewhere? Because that's always like that's sort of a topic point in the community. Like Vegas again, or have it somewhere else.
Interesting. So I think in some ways Vegas makes sense in the fact that it's kind of like an all hours city. So if people, want to meet up after and do karaoke, which I missed out. Not next year. I'm not missing next year. But so they want to do something like that. Like the city is still awake and you
Mhm.
can do stuff together. Being in a and all encompassed in one where it's the hotel so everyone can stay there and we can go there's food and there's the arena, all of that. I think that all makes sense. Vegas is not too far from LA, so I'm biased on that. I thought that was nice that it wasn't really far. But if it was in another place, that would be cool too. I think it just makes sense if it's in a entertainmenty type place. So like you guys got to go to the Sphere,
Mhm.
things like that, so people can do community events outside of the championship, and have somewhere to do it and not just like the whole place shuts down at like 10 p.m. And I think making sure that there is a gaming arena. I thought that was so cool that the
Yeah.
HyperX is just for that. It's not like a theater that they tried to make work for gaming, but that is what it is set up for. And it was such a great setup. I would say though, they could use a little bit of air conditioning.
That's not something I had noticed, so, like, I wonder if, like, being in the
Yeah, I feel like
costume and the
Maybe
suit
that's what it
would
cosplaying.
was. I was like, "Ooh, girl, it is warm." Like, it was hot when they were showing the awesome, sanctuary clips, and they're like,
Oh,
"Come
no,
into
that
this
room.
room." I was like,
No.
"I actually
That room was
can't.
hot.
I'm
That room
sorry. I
was hot.
can't go in there."
Yeah.
That
I'll
was, like,
walk through the
fainting,
doorway.
like, potential. That was uncomfortably warm, but it had all the PCs in it, and, like, the door was shut,
Yeah.
and, like, the airflow was
Yeah.
bad. No, that was terrible. I validate that for sure. Oh, man. Um, yeah.
What
Sorry,
about
what
you
are you
guys?
gonna
Do you want it in Vegas or, you
I'm open to anything. I mean, I love Vegas. I'm super
You're a
biased,
liar.
but I okay, yeah. I personally would pick Vegas again, but it would depend on what the other option is. Like, are we in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere or is it Vegas? Then obviously Vegas. But if it's like Yarla had a good suggestion. Where did you say
He said we're the
Prague?
winner, the yeah, Prague, but he's like wherever the winner is from.
Yeah. So Yarla lives
Oh,
in
that would be
Prague.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, be cool. So, whatever they decide to pick, I don't know if they've landed on a decision, but I think we're all just still buzzing from how exciting the, event was, and so I can't help but think about next year. I keep meaning to ask you this, so before I forget, you said that you played Magic the Gathering when you were younger. Like, has there been another gaming community that you've been like really like ingrained in the scene for? And kind of comparing, and if you have, like, comparing that to the parallel community, I'm just curious.
It's League of Legends, so you guys already know how that community is. Uh, I got really lucky that I have a really solid group of friends who play League. So our tiny little community is kind and welcoming and nice. But as we all know, once you get into it and then you're out into the rest of the world, there's a lot of bullies in League, a lot of mean people, a lot of trolls, stuff like that, trying to like stream League. I'm not a professional League player, and people coming in expecting professional plays. It is just like people be so mean in the chat, and you're like, oh, like this is like I'm enjoying the game. I'm not claiming I'm a
Video
professional. Like,
Yeah. Video games are
versus
supposed to be fun, people, like,
yes,
chill, you know? Oh, yeah, that sounds I didn't realize you had come, like, from League or you're super
Came
into
from the
it.
real
I
trenches.
myself haven't really ever gotten, really into, MOBAs, but I've heard it's quite toxic, so I admire your bravery for going through that.
it's
So
it's
Yeah,
definitely a little bit toxic, but Parallel is the exact opposite, you know? I've streamed playing Parallel before, and even if I've make bad plays, no one's just like, "Wow, you're the biggest idiot I've ever seen." Like, they'll just be like, "Oh, maybe, you didn't realize that that card does X, Y, and Z," or like people offer to help or that sort of a thing, or just, cheer you on or be like, Better luck next time." Like all like welcoming community, a very different thing.
yeah. Parallel's a
um,
walk in the park for MOBAs. I played Dota before, and it's like, yeah, like any of those, your every match is like your blood is boiling, and then for some reason you hit Q again. You just keep hitting it.
masochistic, really,
Yeah.
like, why?
That's so
Uh,
funny. It's so true.
well Well, it's nice to know that Parallel is a nice, change of pace, to the intensity of, and toxicity of the League, community. But alright, I think unless, Mooka, you have any other questions, I kinda wanna move on to, a little section that, production has done this type of show before. It's called The Stack, alright? So, until we think of a parallel themed name for The Stack, okay, we're gonna call it that. And essentially, we're going to say, a statement, and then you're going to, uh decide if it resolves or not, which is essentially, kind of giving your opinion on said statement. How does that sound?
I love it.
Okay.
Let's do
Let's do
it.
it. All right. So the first one in parallel, mana should be capped at 10.
Mm, it could happen. I'm like either or. I'm on the line. Not against it, not for it.
So does it need to be?
Do you want it to be the
Like,
case?
I feel like if we
you
gotten
know,
to the point where we're like at 15 mana or energy, I was like, Well, how did we like there's other things that are going wrong here that like this game is like
yeah,
this long.
that's a really good point.
Okay.
God,
Yeah. They want me to answer too.
Yeah, you gotta answer.
I'm gonna say no. I want to but I understand that that goes along with some balance problems, right? Because if you get to a point where you just have endless, energy, maybe there are some combinations of cards. But by that point in the game, I feel
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
you could do some disruption to wild stuff. But so I'm gonna say no. But I do teeter. I go back and forth. That's
Yeah.
my answer.
I just think it's like I just think it's like a weird state if we got to a point in that like if I'm playing somebody and we're both at like 15 energy, I would just be like, how did we get here? Like what did like what is like why is this still going
Actually,
on? Like why am I still even with you?
That
considering
makes
that
sense.
parallel games, like, they can go on for a really long time as is, if the energy was uncapped, like, that could be intense.
Yeah. I will say, like, I do feel like in the game in general, Aveen has said this countless times, like it's short in turns, long in minutes. And that I do echo that.
Mm,
Like I
mhm.
think the game we should get to further turns. It shouldn't be like turn 6 and you're like, oh no, I feel like I'm gonna lose. Um, but at the same time, turn 15, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, Melissa,
Yeah.
final thoughts there because we kinda we
It
jumped in
has to it
there.
has to
Yeah.
stop at some point, right? Like there has to be a cap somewhere in there. It can't just keep going forever. But I think, yeah, if you're at 15, you're probably sitting there thinking like, what are we doing? And that also would be pretty brutal. You could play some pretty serious cards then. You're gonna be able to play a 7 cost and an 8 cost. Like that could be pretty tough. But also could then be fun. So I'm
Yeah.
torn.
Okay, half resolves, I think, for all of us. Final
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Melissa cosplays as Scipius. Resolves or not?
Bro, yes. Well, I'm like thinking, how do we do
Oh
this?
yeah. Oh yeah.
You're gonna need
100%,
multiple,
right?
you're gonna need
You need
multiple Hollywood level
oh yeah.
artists to like help you do it. Like that sounds intense.
That would
It
be a
actually seems
multiple
so hard
person.
with all the different, like, things coming out of
Yeah.
them. You know what I mean?
We're talking bald cap,
Mhm.
prosthetics, probably
Oh,
scar wax around the tubes and
Ooh,
how many
everything.
hours?
And probably gonna have to do one where he's wearing a shirt. Uh,
yeah, true. Kind of forgot that he's doesn't actually, we don't even
Yeah.
know if it's
I don't know.
genderless. Who even knows what it is? It's
Yeah.
just Dipius. And then it's
That's
also kinda, like, see-through too, right? Like, you can see part of
yeah.
yeah,
So
okay.
having to figure out how to create some sort
yeah.
of overlayer that is translucent enough to see. I mean, that would be difficult, but it's in the cards.
In the cards.
I'd say I'll resolve it.
Okay, yes, alright, resolves. Okay, next one, there will be more paragons added to the game. What do you
I
think?
feel like that's a natural progression. I feel like
Yeah.
I would expect that to happen. Obviously love the paragons as is, but I would have expected that over time they would be adding in new paragons. That resolves for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think anytime soon. I'd like to see the ones that don't like work to maybe get some reworks and stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like John, for example.
Poor John. Imagine if they added another Augencore Paragon
Yeah.
before John got any play. That would just be criminal. Oh,
Yeah.
so bad. No, I agree though. I think that eventually in time, like, Hearthstone was 9 classes for God, like so long. I think they added Demon Hunter in 2019 and the game came out in 2014. And for a long time, like we didn't think or know that they were going to add another class and they did. So I would think that like the Paragons is an easy addition, but then the next one, sixth parallel, yay, nay.
So that's where I was gonna ask you guys because like the six parallel might oh man, which one is like because if you make one paragon, you're gonna make them for all the parallels, right? At the
Right.
same time. Because like, if we get an earthen one, Melissa's gonna like lose her shit because like she doesn't want to play the new earthen one. So then you gotta make five new paragons, but if you make a new parallel, you have to make three new paragons, but you also have to make a whole new archetype.
Mm.
They both sound
And
so tough.
whole new play style that somehow fits in with all the other ones but isn't copying any of the other
Yeah.
ones. It would be cool if they could pull that off. I'd
Yeah,
be
that'd be
open to
sick.
it. I'd be definitely open to it if it fits with the lore as well. If it's like a natural progression with the lore, it doesn't feel like this weird, like, oh, we forced this. If it feels
Mhm.
like a
Yeah.
natural progression with the lore, I would be open to another faction if it felt balanced.
Yeah.
I think it would really come down on how they wrote it because I like I don't know. It feels very core that it's like there's the 5 factions, and like just adding in another one could feel jarring and like stepping away from the story. But if it was written that like, there was a secret one that survived, like there was another group of humans that went to a
Yeah.
different corner of the universe and nobody knew about it, like I could see them writing it in a clever way. So I guess for me, I'm not completely shut off to the idea. But they'd have to
I'm
do
more
it
no
well,
on
you
this
know?
one. It's like, yeah, it feels really tough. Like, just like I don't even know what play style that we don't have in parallel that like a new faction would have.
Um, I mean, how many playstyle I mean, there's usually what others?
We got like burn aggro. We got like Cathari going wide. We have Earthen going like really tall. Shroud is
Shroud
control.
control.
Augencore. Yeah, Augencore is like upgrades and like yeah, I don't know. Yeah, upgrades.
Yeah. I don't know, I think
We'd
that
have
I
to
think
find
that
a
would
new
be
thing.
tough.
Yeah.
Mill, yeah, but Mill you could
Bill is
do with
Cathari too.
yeah, you could I don't know if Mill being an entire class identity would like, that would suck a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
By the way, we're
Um,
responding to Mark. Mark wrote that in our
yeah,
chat. We
sorry,
just
for
all just
production
we
sewn
all
in
just
some
said
ideas.
mill.
Okay, so I'm gonna say doesn't resolve for 6th parallel and
Yeah.
does resolve for new paragons, and we'll
Yes.
yeah?
I agree. I agree.
Melissa said perhaps to the sixth. Or no, you
Yeah.
said yes to the another faction. Okay. Let's see. One more. There should be a unit limit on the board. 'Cause right now you can have as many units as your heart desires.
As a Neve player, I'm gonna have to say no limits, please. Thanks.
Hey, there we
I say no.
go. That's a
I'm
good
big. I'm big no.
answer.
I was waiting, but I was about to like blurt out like hell no. Like I don't know. Like I think it takes so much of the identity away if there's like
Yeah.
yes, I don't like how it's always displayed like the carousel like with the
Mhm.
clicking. I'm sure hopefully there's like a way that makes it better to visually see more units on the board. But I don't know, it's just like Parallel's just built for that. Like
Yeah.
it's not constrained. I feel like it would be a totally different experience. Like certain cards would be totally changed. And maybe that's just because I'm used to it, but it does feel like why do we have like other games have constraints and they do their thing. Other games don't. So Parallel doesn't, and I think that's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna big agree there. If it was capped at like a Hearthstone at like 7 spots or something like that, I just like it
Yeah.
wouldn't feel like parallel. So,
No.
but I do think that changes to the UI maybe to make it a little the scrolling better or something like that in time could be cool. But no, I'm definitely gonna say does not resolve for capping the board limit.
Hell yeah.
Have
100%.
you gotten to playtest mobile yet for parallel?
I have it downloaded on my phone. I'm so
Nice.
excited.
Nice. What's been your impression so far?
I saw some of it at Worlds and I think it looks great. They had it on phones and iPads and it was funny, they're like, "Oh, it's still very like kind of like a cautiously lit putting it out there and it seems so great, like seemed very very smooth. I think for me personally, I would want, even though it's on my phone right now, once it's like in the actual app store, I would want to download it onto an iPad instead, just for my personal terrible vision. Having it be, on a really small screen, I think an iPad I would prefer, but I think that is going to be such a game changer too. It's so exciting. The past few months, I haven't been able to play as much because a lot of my work is traveling work and I can't always bring my laptop with me. So now with the mobile element, and I know I'm not the only one who has those limits, that's going to be so exciting. Or for people who don't have access to a PC at all, but they have a smartphone or a tablet, it'll be so great to make it more accessible. I'm all about making games more accessible to as many people as
Yeah.
possible. So I'm really stoked about mobile.
Absolutely.
iPad gaming is peak.
iPad gaming is peak. Tablet gaming
Yeah.
all the way. It's the best way to play card games, man. I totally validate that.
But
But
I
yeah,
will say though, TFT I don't really like on the iPad. I
that's
like that better
true.
on
That
the
would be tough.
PC.
Yeah, that one would be
Yeah.
tough.
I definitely agree with that. Anything that requires like really high APM, like TFT, sometimes you're scrolling through the carousel, like and needing to
Yeah.
make insanely fast moves, and that is tough for sure. But parallel actually, that'll be really interesting if we do get a deck someday where, like, there were a few decks in Hearthstone where they were APM decks where you had to,
Yeah.
like, put a whole bunch of, like, upgrades on a unit or something and then have it, like, OTK, like, that will be an interesting day. I'm sure we'll get that at some point in parallel, but,
We got
yeah.
close with like backpack and memento where you had to like keep
Yeah,
popping the
that's
drones fast
true.
enough. Yeah.
Mhm. That was definitely a high
I've
APM
seen
deck
players like miss it.
for sure. Well Well, when you just before we end here, I'm curious because you just said for work, like what else is on the horizon for you? Like you said, you're acting and then also cosplaying. Like where, what does Melissa do outside of Parallel? Curious.
My main passion for like my entire life has been acting, theater, film, television, commercials.
Oh,
Girl
wow.
does it all. I love it all. So I actually had an audition right before this, so cross your
Cool.
fingers for me.
Let's
So
go.
acting is like my main passion. I'm also trying to do some modeling in LA. I'm not really tall though, so that's a bit of a limiting factor. They're super into height.
Yeah.
But and then I
Very
have
cool.
another gig with Toyota where I'm like a game show host for them. And then sometimes I get to do this voiceover gig with them. It's like being a talking car. So people like are interacting with the car and they don't realize that it's actually me with a microphone, a little headset, and a TV
Oh,
watching
that's
them in the
fascinating.
car. And I try to sound like an AI, and that's really, really fun. It's a really fun gig, really fun. The game show is amazing. I'm super grateful for that opportunity. So I'm just hoping, more awesome performing opportunities, to be a voice actor for Parallel. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. Things like that. And hopefully, whatever the future parallel events are, I would love to go as a cosplayer. Again, I really enjoy cosplaying. It's so hand in hand with acting.
Mhm.
That I absolutely love it. So hopefully, more cosplay gigs are on the horizon as well.
Well, clearly you have a passion for entertaining people, and I will definitely say, Mook, and you can agree with this, that Mook and I have not laughed and smiled in as much as we have in this episode than any
What
other
a
episode that
what
we've
an
done thus
episode.
far. So you have been
Oh,
incredibly entertaining and funny, and like I thoroughly enjoyed, learning about how much went into the Catherine cosplay. Like I'm actually quite excited to watch my reaction back because I feel like the entire time I was like, "What? Are you serious? Like, that's crazy." And so, yeah, I said it in the beginning, but I'm really happy that we gave you the stage to be able to explain to the community how much, went into it. And so, thank you for coming on and telling us about it. And, we got to know you more and everything like that. And, thank you so much for being so ingrained into the community and supporting the game. So Muka, unless you have any other questions for Melissa, I think we'll probably wrap it here.
No, this was awesome. I really enjoyed this. I didn't know what to expect when I knew we were gonna learn about like the cosplay experience, but
Yeah.
that was freaking that kudos to you. You deserve all the credit. Like that is a lot of effort and it came out so well, but man, you sacrificed for it for sure. And it
Hey, it's
it was
paid.
very
honestly,
cool.
what you guys do is so hard though. That one day that they let me cast one little tiny tournament, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like what you guys do is extraordinarily hard and an unbelievably high level skill set for casting. That is so impressive." So it's not, you guys put in the really hard work too.
Thank you. It's a
Well,
very nice
thanks
way
for
to
saying
call
that.
us nerds.
Yeah,
Not at all.
that's true. Is there anywhere that you'd like the people that are listening to this to find your social media or that type of stuff? Like plug your stuff real quick, just so the people can follow you.
Thank you. Absolutely. You guys can follow me at It's Melissa Foster. So that's ITSMELISSAFOSTER on almost all platforms. That's my name It's Melissa Foster.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Melissa, for coming on. And for anyone that listened to this on the Parallel League podcast, thank you. Make sure to give us a thumbs up or comment how incredible Melissa is on YouTube and, give us a review, all the things. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you.
This was a 983 Media Productions podcast.